Hello, hello, people. Welcome to episode 21 of Wise Wednesdays. And as you may know, this is something that we've been running for since April 1st this year. And the idea was to kind of look at who and what are the kind of gems I have already on my circle of genius, as I call it. And then I invite people from my page to come and have a lovely conversation, honest, heart-led conversation with me, Ruqya Khan. I am known as a smile strategist and have been running Facebook Live videos on this page since May 1st, 2018. And that story for another day, but let's thank you, Brenda. And I have with me today an amazing person, a person who I connect, resonate very strongly with the word joy, because I got to know her when she's been running this amazing project called Voices of Joy, and I had the good fortune of being on it, and it was brilliant, the whole experience. So Brenda comes with 25 years of experience. She's a master coach, and above all of that, an amazing human being and a kind heart. So Brenda, over to you. Thank you for being on board, and such a joy to have you.
Oh, Ruqya, thank you so much. You know, when we connected, and I can't even remember how, but the universe just brings you the right people at the right time, and it's like they fall onto your lap, you know. And from the word go, we just hit it off so much. And I think that's because we're both highly joyous people. We've learned the art of joy and how living in joy just creates such amazing it's amazing abundance. It just makes life so much easier to live with ease and grace. And you know, at the start of the year, long before COVID, I wanted, this was my year of joy. And of course, we've had COVID, and as we know, COVID has created lockdown all over the world. It's a pandemic, and for some folk, joy has been wiped out because so many people have lost their lives very rapidly to this. But here is where we come in, you know. Yes, we have these great adversities. Yes, we have these great challenges. And I have known these in my life, and I'm sure you have too, and many of your listeners. But what I say, out of adversity, including death, great joy is birth, because we are joy ourselves. We are born joyous, and you know, life, cultures, all sorts of limiting beliefs dampen our joy. So we never ever lose joy, but it's just its light is diminished, never eliminated, but just diminished. And we've just got to find that little spark to help us get back into living a life of joy.
Absolutely. And I like what you said. It's important to find that little spark. And that's what these conversations are all about. We talk about things that are important to us, because sometimes in the larger picture and the overwhelm, you forget that what truly is important to you. And even in these transitional times, as I like to call it, there is always something to look back at and smile and say, I'm so grateful for that.
Yes, yes. And I think you've said a really interesting word there for me, because it's what I was thinking to bring up in our conversation, and that is gratitude. And I think the key to your happiness and your success and opening up that joy that's already in your heart and in your soul is gratitude, because it doesn't matter what you've got, what you've not got, what you lose, or what's hidden from you. The minute you say, thank you for, or I am grateful for, it could be something as simple. I'm grateful for the air that I breathe. I am grateful for my next breath. I am grateful for, you know, the roof over my head. I am grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the friends in my life. I am grateful that I have capacity of mind. I am grateful that I can pick up this pen. You can find gratitude in everything and anything. You know, and one of the things when I work with clients is we talk about gratitude walks. And this can be 10, 15 minutes. You don't need to go on an hour's walk. It can be a grounding walk around your garden, you know, getting barefoot with Mother Earth. And when you go out, be grateful. So I do these gratitude walks, and you can connect it with abundance, you can connect it with everyone. And I will say, I am. So just now we've got rain here in not sunny, in sunny, sorry. And so I would say I'm grateful for the rain. I am grateful for it nourishing the aridness of the land. I am grateful that my plants are being watered. I am grateful that my plants will bloom once more with the water. I'm grateful for the grey skies because it gives me, you know, some, you know where you live, you know, the sun's so hot at this time of year, isn't it? So you can find, you can express your gratitude in anything and everything, you know, your hair, your eyes, your breath, your teeth, your smile, your whatever you want. And gratitude opens up and ignite, well, the sparks there, but it can fuel it even more.
Absolutely. So we have Cindy watching us all the way from the US, and she says Joy is playing with my 5-year-old grandson. So yes,
Oh,
nothing.
that's wonderful.
And she says hi to us both. And
Hello.
Isn't it beautiful, the little joys of life? And I believe there is a little joy that you're celebrating as well in terms of the new adventure, or should I say the project that you've come up with in terms of the book publishing.
Yes, you know, so we know that, as I say, lockdown and what's happened across the world has many people have lost their jobs, many businesses are going under. I don't know about where you are in the world, but where we are in the UK, many big names that have been with us for like 100 years and more, they're going under. But do you know what? When you're connected with your joy, I believe this so much, when you're aligned with who you truly are, the universe, even in these dark times, has the light. You know, behind me, you can see a book and it's called Voices of Hope. And so what happened for me was people were coming to me to write books because they knew I'd been working with a publisher, and they knew I was a coach. So, you know, writing, publishing, coaching, having 25 years experience in education, leadership, teaching English, all of these things. And I just all come together in a magic way. And so I was being asked more and more about writing books, and can you publish my book? I want to publish it with you, you know, because people that old chestnut know, like, and they trust me, you know, because my heart's on my sleeve. I'm raw and real, as I say. So around 28th of April, I was doing this work with some clients and authors, and I just went, do you know what? I'm going to start my own publishing house. And I had a chat with a couple of people who are instrumental and they're part of the core of what I'm doing now. And they were ready to join me because I knew I couldn't do it alone. And like all business, you can't do it alone. Collaboration is key, and collaboration is one of our values. So they said yes. So I didn't hesitate because I knew the three of us got on so well, and that we had the same values with the similar mission, and that they were happy for me to be that leader and get out there and do it. And you know, in 2 months we've got like over 10 clients. We're growing. I've got offered a television program, 24 weeks of TV on Apple TV, Amazon, and can't remember the other channel. It begins with a K. And you know, and just I've been offered partnerships with other amazing huge businesses and people who've got amazing names in the world that I'm in. And so therefore, by saying that yes to that whole joy thing inside, so we've now got the author's adventure, because it is an adventure when you say yes to wanting to write your book, to grow your business, go beyond your business. And what I was saying earlier is that, we're getting to the chalk face now, in terms of publishing. So we've coached people on writing their book. It's now in the submission stage. So it's exciting. They're getting to look at front cover design. I'm actually, one of my clients and authors, we did her front cover and she just cried. I'm going to get emotional now myself. And it was tears of joy because the front cover encapsulated her whole mission, her whole vision for her work. And she's the only person in the whole of the UK who does this work, and it's called Total Release Experience. And, her book's called Feel It to Heal It. And it's just amazing that at every step of this adventure, the joy that comes out in the authors. Honest to goodness, I feel so humbled and blessed at being given this opportunity to see such childlike joy, and that's what joy is, and that's what Voices of Joy is all about. Like the lady that says joy is her 5-year-old, in Voices of Joy, we've got people talking about what joy is to them, and it can be their children, it can be a flower, it can be a walk, it can be a million and one things that this beautiful, wonderful world in which we live has to offer. And it's finding the joy, the beauty in every little moment, in that mindfulness, in that peace, in the calm, and just in each of us.
Absolutely. So you said it can be in anything. So we have Rashid Rehan, who says, my joy of having a new member in my family, and he's just had a baby son. So, back to you. So yes, and we have Muhammad who's joining in. Okay, I'm going to ask you something. Joy is also about being silly, right?
Yes. Anything that makes you smile. You're smile-tastic,
Absolutely. So, Brenda, with all the things going on in your world right now, did you ever imagine that you would come on episode 21 of Wise Wednesdays? And how does that honor make you feel?
Not at all. And it's wonderful, unfortunately, we were supposed to meet earlier on in the year, and I know we would have had a great fun day out, so much joy. We'd have been able to share that online with people, but it didn't. So, I'm just so delighted that I can return the support, the love, and the joy to you, in which you showed me when you agreed to be part of the Voices of Joy. So, Ruqya, I will support you. I will help you be in a spotlight, because the work that you're doing is amazing, and you're working with young people. And I've worked with young people for over 25 years in my life and continue to do so. Even in my publishing business, we've got young writers. We're running a competition for young children, aged from about 9, 10, I think it is, to 13, because promoting our young, promoting the childlike spirit within each of us. And that means being silly. Just watch a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old. Just watch these young children. They don't have that. They just get out there. They're brave. They've got courage. And yet, as we grow up, we shed that, and we get embarrassed about it, and we think, oh no, that's not how adults act. Let me tell you, in my years on this earth, adults are not any different from that 5-year-old. We're only 5-year-olds. We're still 5-year-olds. I still feel like a 6, 8-year-old, and that is what brings you ultimate success in life. When you lose your inhibitions and you just let that joy, that curiosity, the love, the excitement, never lose your sense of awe and wonder. That's where joy resides. And that joy, we are born with that joy. So Just get rid of all the things that people say, oh, you can't do that, you're an adult. Why are you doing that? You're this, you're that. Because they're too afraid to do what you've found the courage to do. So do you know what? Just keep doing it. Keep having fun. Keep being silly. Keep dressing up. Keep doing the somersaults. Keep doing the cartwheels. Keep doing the trampolining. Whatever it is. And if you're in Dubai, in that part of the world, keep going those Jeep safaris on the desert. They are so much fun.
If we could measure the energy of in the room, your energy, it would have blown over the meter. So yes, I am so happy you're here. Thank you so much for doing this. Guys, if you've just tuned in, we have with us Brenda Dempsey, who has 25 years of experience behind her. She's a life coach, she's an author, she is a celebrated mom, beautiful heart. And please, the conversation today is on seek joy. If you have any questions regarding joy, because these are interesting times that we are in, when joy doesn't really come as the first priority. We look at situations from eyes of concern, fear even. So how would you, at these times, still invite joy to your home? I noticed Cindy has written something over there. I think that the adult has the ego in the way. It blocks the sunlight of the spirit. Yes. What would you add to that, Brenda?
Yeah, and I just want to, if it's all right with you, Ruqya, I want to say something about seeking joy.
Yes, please.
Because we don't need to seek joy. I'm going to get emotional again. Joy is in us already. And what happens is we go seeking joy outside of us. And we just have to go inward to find the joy, because it's already there. And what was the name of the person who said about ego gets in the way? Who was that?
That was Rehan, who said he's just had a baby boy.
Yeah, Rehan, you're so right. Ego does get in the way of joy, because
the ego question, the comment on ego was from Cindy.
Oh, Cindy, you're exactly right. Ego does get in the way. And that's all to do with our conditioning as a human being. And we are actually spirits living in a human body. And when we start to go on that path and on that journey of discovery from within, because we are already everything we need to be in life. We are love, we are joy, we are light, we are peace, we are everything. And if each of us just tuned and turned inward to develop that further, we would have no wars. We would have none of what's happening in this world right now. We would be living in a different place. So it's people like Ruqya and myself talking about these subjects openly and with great gusto and energy, showing what is possible. Because I've always been a happy, carefree person, but I tell you, I've come through great adversity in my life and great challenges. And, I've written 2 books, Voices of Courage, which is the first step to transformation, and Voices of Hope, where that little spark comes. And when we are faced with great adversity, like each of us is right now at this time in the world, in our lives, then let me assure you that great joy and light is coming, because remember, we live in a duality. For when there's darkness, there is light. Where there's sadness, there is joy. Where there's grieving, there is rejoicing. And we just need to go inside and find it. Like just now, there's a lot of death around. Now, I've lost a number of people in my life. I've lost my parents, a sister. I've lost a baby, a nephew who was 21 months. So I've lost lots of people to death who've moved on from this life. But do you know what? In my development and going inward and learning about spirit and who I am and all of that, I've learned fear has no place in my life, because fear absolutely dulls the spark, the joy, the light. So when we just surrender to what is and accept, and let go of the fear, we can then step in and enjoy our lives more. So yes, it's sad when people die. I'm not saying it's not sad. And yes, you need a time to grieve. But know in that, find the joy in their life. And that's hard to do. But the more you do it, the more you go in, and the more you remind yourself of the joy that they brought. Yes, you'll miss the joy. I'm not saying that. But focus on the joy and that energy. Then your recovery from that loss is absolutely, it's speeded up, it's quantum leaped, as I say. And when we just look for joy, so me, I'm a cloud, I'm a silver lining in every cloud, no matter what. Just can I tell one wee quick story? On my father's deathbed when he couldn't breathe, right? It's a bit like probably what a lot of COVID people are going through, because it was pneumonia and he was drowning in his own lungs. I'm the youngest of four children, and I knew my father loved singing. And even although the pain of watching your father die, it was enormous, we rose above that pain to help him endure his last moments. We started singing and having a party. So we sang all the songs that we knew meant so much to my father. And, he could barely breathe, he couldn't talk, but he had enough strength to give us a thumbs up to say, we knew we were doing the right thing, even although I just wanted to break down, scream and cry, but I knew that wouldn't serve my father. And I knew we had to find strength and courage to be with him in his last hours. So what better way to do that was to bring him some joy on his deathbed. And that's what we did. So I'm saying I'm a silver lining in every cloud. And that's what I say to you. When you're challenged with something, no matter what it is, find the silver lining. And if you know the Viktor Frankl story, Man's Search of Meaning, if you don't, go and read that little book. That is a man who will change your life forever.
And as you say, change your life forever. We have a comment here from Sharon, who's been brave enough to let us know that I lost my mom 2 weeks ago, but how can there be any joy? So thank you, Sharon, for sharing that with us, and also for joining us, because it means a lot to me that you've taken the time to come and be part of this and even share. So Cindy says we have everything within us to thrive. And let me just take back your attention to Sharon and Brenda. How could you? What would you like to say to her? Because I'm speechless.
First of all, I'm sorry for the loss of your mother. There is the hole that's left when your mother dies is absolutely a great void. And right now, I would say be kind to yourself and just let any emotion come up, whether it's anger, whether you want to cry for 24 hours, whether you want to scream, whether you want to withdraw, go to bed for 24 hours. That's okay. Accept it and just let it wash over you and just feel into it without judgment. It doesn't matter what other people think, or you shouldn't be in your bed all day. Who cares? It's not their pain. It's not their loss. It's not their sadness. It's not their despair. It's not their darkness. It's yours. And if you want to spend a day or two in your bed feeling sorry for yourself, for the loss, because that's why we cry. It's our loss that we are grieving, as well as the loss of that person no longer being in our life. All of it is okay. And that's what I would say to you. It's okay to feel like that. And it's okay not to feel joy today, 2 weeks on from the passing of your mother. It's okay. But just know that it does not remain that way. And I know it's a cliche and people say every day gets better, but what happens is you don't forget the person, you don't forget the pain. What you do is learn to cope with it and learn to absorb it. And then eventually you learn, what else can I do with it? But you've got to allow yourself the whole journey and the whole process of grieving. Do not resist it, and do not try to push it away either, but just sit and let it be. That's what I would say.
I completely agree with you about the kindness, because it's important for you to be kind to yourself. And there is no rush to be normal. There is no rush to be normal, because well-meaning people around us will push us to get over the loss, or to kind of accelerate and feel normal again. But you know what? Normal was when that person was with you in your life. That was normal. What happens after that is another normal, is another level of normal. It's a new normal. So give yourself that time. Be a little patient with yourself in terms of how
absolutely
acknowledge and just be one with your feelings. Just give yourself
such great wisdom.
Thank you. Cindy says, what would you say about an older woman who has been grieving the loss of her grown daughter for the past 7 years? She says she still cries every day. And before you address that question, I know there's someone else watching here who I had met and had a conversation with about the loss of a child as well. And I am aware that she's watching. So just again, she's a mom whose daughter is much older and again lost there. So I'm just wondering, what can somebody do about this? Or it's a tough one.
Okay, I have 4 children, and thank God, my 4 children are still with me. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your child. But I do have a bit of insight, because my niece, who's like my daughter, she was just like a daughter, even though it was my sister's child. She was with me every day in life, and she had a baby, and about 7 months, he got Krabbe's disease, and that's terminal. And so we know firsthand what it's like to lose a young person. Now, a mother who loses their child, let's say the child's in their 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever age, it doesn't matter. It's exactly the same thing. Because when I was in my mid-40s, my mother spoke to me as if I was like an 8-year-old. And your mother has got this way of making you feel like that child, because that's what it is. I spoke earlier about the inner child. We are all children. So we've got 3 states. We're either a child, we're either a parent, or we're an adult. That is the 3 psychological states in which our behavior is all geared on. So it doesn't matter the age of your child when you lose a child. That you will consider that child like that baby, that toddler, that 6-year-old, that 10-year-old, because that is just the magic of the spirit in which we grow and are nurtured. So you will grieve that child. You will grieve the missing out. You will grieve the what if. You will grieve all the occasions when that child that you're celebrating or you're living and that child is no longer with you. What comes from that is guilt. And guilt is so damaging to the human spirit. And if we can learn that there's no place in our life to feel guilty, then we can, like what we said for the other person when I spoke 5 minutes ago, it's the same thing. Just if you're crying every day, you're crying every day, accept it. But then what you want to start doing is, what have you done to help yourself deal with that? So we have things like memory boxes, memory books, celebrating, acknowledging your child, every single day, telling that child you love them. But remember, they're in spirit, they're with you, and they would not want to see you in pain, hurting, not moving forward. But just know that they're with you and you can still smile again, laugh again, because that's what they would want for you. You know, I always talk about being in other people's shoes. Think about if you weren't here, would you want your loved ones and your family and friends absolutely mourning indefinitely for your loss? No, but just know that it's a celebration of their life. Live life in celebration and thanks and gratitude for what they taught you, for what they brought you, and know that you can tap into it at any moment. You can tap into it at any moment in that memory and just relive those precious moments and use that to fuel not sadness, not the guilt, not that you're missing out, but how you can keep their spirit alive. How are you celebrating your child? How are you keeping their memory alive? What are you doing that's sharing the joy and the beauty of who they were? What lessons have they taught you that you can use to move forward? I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. We lost Jack 14 years ago, and I know my niece feels that pain every single day. But she also has recognised she has to move on in her life. And it took her a great number of years to do that. I'm not saying it was just 2 or 3 years. It isn't. And she still has that void. But she's got another child now and she's got other things in her life that she's grateful for. So she, despite her pain, despite her loss, and despite rises above it and does her utmost to live a life that's got joy in it once again. But you know, we're human and we will have dark days, but it's not giving in to those days. It's looking at the things that I've mentioned and finding a way out, but just accepting that those days come and it's all part of the new normal.
True that. I love the way you are in flow. So yes, thank you. I could just go on forever listening to you. So we spoke about many things, and we also spoke about silliness. What has been the most silliest goal you've chased?
You know, that's a bit of a tough question for me because all my life, even as a child, I had this. Oh, do you know, you hear this? I don't know if you know this saying, Ruqya, an old head on young shoulders. I've always been a highly responsible person. I've always been a sensible person. I've always, and education, I tell you, knocks a lot of your silliness out of you, because like I dealt with SEN and so you deal with lawyers, you're dealing with educational psychologists, you're dealing with medics, social workers. So your life becomes quite intense and entrenched in what's the word? God, I've forgotten the word. The opposite of silliness, you know. And so being silly. So I'm at my silliest when I'm with my grandchildren. When I'm with my grandchildren. So the minute I'm with children, I forget. I just become a child again. Well, I do live my life, as I say, childlike. But I probably could have more silliness in my life. I think I definitely could invite more silliness in my life. But I'm joyous and I'm smile and I find fun in things and I laugh and so I do that. But silliness, definitely silly when and my children hate me being silly. So do you know what? And this is this is the naughty side of me is so because I know they hate it. Guess what happens when I'm with them? I do it even more. Because I just say, I'm getting my back for all the times you drove me crazy growing up, you know what I mean? Particularly as teenagers. And so they'll go, Mum, Mum. And I thought, so what? You've got one life, enjoy it, you know? Yeah, because sometimes depending on the role you've got and the job you do in life, you can get quite serious. That's the word I was looking for earlier. And you can get to be silly. I do think it's important that you need time out for yourself and let go. But the being silly, I would say it's when any time that I'm around children, that is just a wide open door to absolutely enjoy being silly. So if I'm around the right people, silliness is easy. So it's maybe finding some more silly people.
Dale says silliness is good for lightening a serious moment. Cindy
Yes.
says, I do love to be childlike. So much fun.
Yes.
Absolutely. And for some of you watching here, you might be aware that I hold a lot of my interviews when I have to interview people. You know how people go and meet up with others at coffee shops, right? I meet them at ice cream parlors.
Yes.
Imagine the joy of standing in front of the colorful ice creams and pulling out scoops of ice cream and then having this very intense meeting and conversation about deciding what needs to be done and who's going to do what, all of those finer details which could probably be very stressful, but enjoying them in a space that is so childlike and so refreshing. So I think
And I'm taken to having meetings and talking with people out in nature as well, and there's some fun. So in the trees, I'll say, oh, let's go and sit in this bough and things. So, it's finding when you're in nature and you've got big spaces, it's easy to fun and, do twirls and things like that. And, when I was a child, there was nothing more I enjoyed than lying on the ground and looking up at the sky and imagining trying to touch it and trying to fathom out how high is that and why can't I touch it? And when you look at clouds on a beautiful sunny day, and trying to see formations of whether it's a horse, an angel, a dog, a pussycat, a rabbit, and trying to imagine the shapes and what they mean, all those things, rainbows, awe and wonder, sunrise, sunset, all of these things that children love, running up a hill, rolling down a hill. I don't know if I can roll right enough. I'm getting a bit old for that, but you get my drift. Yes, so you've just got riding a bike, anything, letting the wind in your hair, and you've got to have those moments in your life. You really do.
absolutely, because it's those moments that keep you curious. It's those moments that keep you childlike. So one of the things that I always talk about is to kind of flip concern with curiosity. So when you're faced with a challenge, look at it with eyes of curiosity instead of concern. That kind of just takes away all the stress of the moment, and just creates this windows of opportunity, where you look at something with curiosity and then you realize, oh, this is also possible, and what if I did that, and how would that kind of come across, is what I speak about. I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
Well, you just used the word I want to bring into the conversation. I wonder.
Oh yes,
I used to work with teenagers, and had this class of boys who had been dismissed because their marks didn't come up to scratch in French. So the French department got rid of them. So the school thought, okay, we'll give these kids more English. My God, these kids struggled with English anyway. And so they had a very narrow way of looking at it. And I remember we engaged in, a whole series, maybe about a whole term's worth of work where they would come in, we would have an image, and it would be, I wonder, because the minute you wonder about something, it takes away the concern. It is the curiosity. I wonder what's happened. I wonder what he's thinking. I wonder what he's saying. I wonder why they're there in the first place. I wonder why. And we've got 360 degrees in a revolution. So, you can come up with 360 degrees for one thing. So for me, language is huge. Words, I'm a wordsmith. I love words. So I follow the work of Dr. David Hawkins, and I said earlier that courage was the first step to transformation. So courage is that word that it's vibrational levels to do with light, and it vibrates at 200. And, you know, so when you can start being aware of the words that you use and the energy they've got and what they do to you, and it's easy to do. So if you just say joy, what happens? So straight away from my toes are tingling and it's going up. But if I say sadness or despair, my heart sinks right into my solar, right into the seat, you know, sacral chakra area. And so therefore, once you become mindful that words have energy, you can start to, when you find yourself using a word, you can ask yourself, well, is that taking me to the light or is it taking me into the darkness? So you can begin changing your thoughts by changing your words. You know, we've 60,000 thoughts in a day, and 92% of them are the same thoughts from the day before and the day before and the day before.
True.
So start thinking, changing one word at a time. So why not introduce the word wonder into your vocabulary? That way it will take away anxiety, it will take away dread, it will take away concern. I wonder what would happen if I didn't feel this way. I wonder what would happen if I chose to smile instead of frowning, which takes up more energy to frown and more muscles than it does to smile. You will know that.
I know that.
You know? So start wondering. Wonder about, why are you thinking that? Why are you feeling that way? Wonder why. Wonder what you could do to change it. Choice. You've got choice. And that's what makes us human. That's what makes us different from all animal species. We have choice. We have free will to choose what we do and what we don't. So we're choosing to stay stuck and in the dark, or we're going to choose something different, which is scary because you've got to go outside your comfort zone and choose something different. Because until you choose something different, you will not get a different result. So you will just stay stuck, you know, and that's a fundamental philosophy in life. And I wish to God we taught our children that, because we would have adults who are less stressed, mental health issues, greater well-being, if we taught all of this stuff from an early age.
Thank you. So Dale says for him, it's been his birds. He feeds his birds outside his house. So I think the conversation about the ice cream parlor and all of that. So he shared that he feeds his birds outside his house. We've got change your words. Change your words. What a great strategy, says Cindy. We've got Mufi who's joined, who says a nice meeting place. We'll try it out. I think that's the ice cream parlor, which seems to have clicked with everybody. See, there you go. Even without a proper meeting, everybody's kind of curious about the ice cream parlor. Rohit's tuned in. He says it's a very interesting topic. Thank you, everybody, once again for joining us. One thing I really cannot let you go without asking you is, what is that difference between joy and happiness?
So this is where the tears come, because I don't cry with sadness, but I get tears of joy, because tears of joy comes from the depth of the spirit of who you are and that energetic value. Happiness has a lesser energetic value, and happiness is, you know, think about it. If you feel happy about, I feel happy about being here, you know, you're there and you've got a smile. But when you joyous, you are fusing the heart, the head, the heart, and the soul. Your joy comes from the depth of your spirit. Happiness is in your heart. And if you want to really exude and emanate in the light and illuminate paths for others as a beacon of light, you have to connect with spirit. You have to connect with who you are, that energy, the life force, whatever it is for you. For some people, it's God, it's Allah, whatever it is. whatever it is that you resonate with, but it comes from deep within. You feel joy in every cell, in every fiber of your body. You embody it. It's that whole, it's just, it's, oh, I think I need to get a better um, explanation of that. But joy comes from a place so deep within. You're just so aligned. You're up here. Your vibration is here, and you probably can see from me the energy and the light.
I
And
can sense it.
in that place of joy. And that is who you truly are. And you cannot fake joy. You cannot fake joy. You know, you can try and fake a bit of happiness. You feel it in your heart, but joy comes from, if you know anything about chakras, I'm going to stand up. So joy comes from right in here at that sacral chakra. And it just, you know, it's such a higher vibrational place than happiness, you know.
True.
I don't know if that's answered it as well. I'm sure there's a simpler answer, and I think I actually know it, but it's just not coming to me at the moment.
We'll keep chatting. It's all right. I have a quote of mine where I say, "You find your joy when you stop chasing happiness."
There you go. That's it. That's it. There is a, you know, joy is just a higher vibrational frequency than happiness. And you're right. You find your joy when most people look for happiness outside of themselves. And happiness can be felt in your heart. But joy is absolutely 100% within. Joy is not outside of you. It's not outside of you. You know, the joy, when you look at a rainbow or you look at a beautiful sunset or a sunrise, it's oh yes, that's an external trigger, but the feeling rises from within, you know. So just practice feeling that joy. Think of things that bring you joy. Do things that bring you joy. Be around people who bring you joy. If they're not bringing you happiness or joy, do you know what? It's time to cut a cord, because you're here to live a life on purpose, with a passion, and each of us has got our genius. You have to, it's in there. You just have to unlock it. You just have to discover it, maybe, and then when you do, you reveal it. But we've all got our genius, and yet we're all made to feel we can't say we're brilliant at something. So I know I'm brilliant at making people feel better. Why do I know that? Because all my life I've been told it. I've got to believe that. I've been told that, and no matter what group I go, Brenda, just talking to you for 2 minutes, I feel better already. So when about 10,000 people tell you that, guess what? That's my genius. I make people feel happy. You know,
yes, you do.
I make not happy. Well, I make them feel happy, but I make them feel better. You know, I can help them connect more to who they are. So that making people feel better is amazing. I can teach them, I can equip them, give them more, help them hone skills and knowledge and understanding. But everything's within you. You just need to find the right person who will help bring it out of you, because it's there. You don't need a teacher to teach you happiness. You don't need a coach but you just need to find the right person it could be a coach, a mentor, who knows what it is, and everything begins inside. Everything's an inside job. All your answers, your joy, your peace, your light, your love, all begins with yourself.
True that. True that. And we have some comments coming in. I'm just going to read through. Rohit says, until you choose something differently, you can't expect difference. So true.
Right.
I fully acknowledge the wisdom words by Brenda. Joy versus happiness. Good question, Ruqya. Thank you. Happiness is within, he repeats. One should try to create moments of happiness for yourself. Try to steal the moments of happiness. Very well explained, he says. And yes, so moving on. So we spoke of joy versus happiness in all of that. So Brenda is running a project called Voices of Joy, where she brings in people and we share a small video, a message on joy. And if any one of you would like to participate, please type a yes in comments. She's more than happy to welcome you on board and be on part of the series that she's running. And she's invited so many people from different parts of the world to be part of her amazing project. So if you would like to be part of the project, please write a yes in comments so that we can get in touch with you and let you know how you could do that. And in the meantime, Dale says, it is difficult to stay positive living alone with no more family. I hear you. And Cindy says, therefore, joy is available to everyone because it's within. So tap into yourself. It's beautiful how her comment kind of also relates to what Dale has asked. He hasn't essentially asked, it's a comment. So look within is what comes to my mind when I read that. What are your thoughts?
So going back to the person, sorry, what was the person that said about living alone, no family members? Who was that? What was that person?
That was Dale. That's Dale.
Dale. Hi, Dale. That's a great question because it's a great point to talk about, actually. And it can be a bit of a taboo. People don't know what to say. And what I would say about that is this. How many people don't love themselves? How many people do not like their own company? How many people are afraid to be alone? Millions. I was one of those people. You know, when I was in my 20s, my 30s, and to a certain extent my 40s, when I was married and my husband used to go on business, I would have to get someone to come and stay with me. And as a child, I didn't like to be alone in the dark. And I was terrified to be alone because I had an overzealous imagination. And I used to think something bad would happen. And what if this, what if that, what if the next thing, you know, and I'm a diamond girl. So if you know what that means. And I wasted 40 years of my life worrying about not loving, well, I didn't worry about not loving myself, but I didn't love myself. I was terrified to be alone. I hated my own company. I didn't want to be in my company. I wanted other people's company because I was a people pleaser. I looked outside of myself for acknowledgement. I needed approval. And this is something that I want you to think about, Dale. Have I described elements of you in the past? Is that still who you are now? So think about it. So when did I change? I would say I changed definitely as I've got older. I learned that, plus I brought up 4 kids, so I had a crazy house, and I used to miss all that in the beginning. And I live in England. I have no family around me right now. I have no family. So although I've got family all over the world, but I have nobody that I can just pick the phone up to or go and visit for a cup of tea. So although maybe I'm not quite in the exact same situation as you, it's similar. So what I then learned was I had to go back to going inward, meditating, reflecting, finding what you like to do, finding to be at peace with yourself, be at peace with you, love you, do things that you like to do, go walks when you like, see it as actually a blessing that you can choose to do what you like when you like. Now, when your energy rises and you start doing these things, guess what happens? You will find people will come into your life, and they might not be blood family, but they become family as close friends. And then you will find that you will create a circle of people around you who are like your family. Now, this brings me on to, so out in the part of the world where Ruqya is, I now have 3 children living in Dubai. My 3rd child just moved last week, and it's not even been there a week yet. And what strikes me about, so my first daughter moved out 16 years ago. She knew nobody, left the UK and came out to Dubai. But straight away, there's the expat community, you know. So you find other people of your culture and nationality and you become like that. So her friends, they were like a family. If anything happened to her, she had their support 100%, just like you would. In fact, some people have a family and don't bother about each other. So it's not about whether it's a blood tie, it's about the quality of the relationship you develop, and that begins within. So for my children, they've got amazing friends in Dubai. So now they've got a bit of the family because there's 3 of them there now. But they all started out with friends who became family because they were in a similar situation. And that's what you have to do. What do you love? What do you like doing? Go find like-minded people. Go and find other people in a group. I don't know, maybe you like playing badminton. Maybe you like playing chess. Maybe you like, I don't know, whatever, walking at sunset, whatever. Find other people who like doing the same thing. Because when you love yourself and you start developing your relationship with you, guess what happens? Other people want to be with you. I remember as a child, I used to say, I want to be popular. Why am I not popular? Why do other people have friends and they all seem to have a good time? Why am I sitting here on my own? I used to feel sorry for myself, you know, and I fueled that. But now, now I'm so popular. Oh my God, I can't keep up with all the demands on my time and people who want to be in my company. And so that's that whole thing. I'm sure you've heard, be careful what you wish for.
Careful what you wish for.
Just be careful what you wish for, because when you're in so I'm a human being who's aligned, not 100% of the time, but in times like this, I'm fully aligned because I'm sharing a message. I'm helping people feel better. I'm giving them the benefit of my wisdom and everything I've learned in life, so that you don't always have to go through exactly the same thing for the same length of time. Yes, you do need adversity. Yes, people, you do have to go through it. I'm sorry. But, well, no, I'm not sorry, because you learn and you change and you grow and you find this joy. And that's what's happened to me in my life. So back to like Dale, when you don't have anything, I hope I've answered your question. One,
Yes.
go within.
Before you do that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, because he's commented here. He said, I'm retired, no more wife, and my kids are far away. I enjoyed being alone for the first 2 years, but now it's getting difficult.
Yes.
I thought you should know that as you start giving him pointers. So yes, please, now go for it.
Absolutely. So, you know, that was the same for me. Empty nest. I was a single parent. I had 4 kids. I had a house full of like 20 people at any one time. I would wake up and I wouldn't know. And then my kids left, and oh my God, it was horrendous, because it was just me, and the silence, the sound of silence was deafening. I know it's an oxymoron, but it was true. The sound of silence drove me nuts. And what I had craved for was this peace and silence. And then when it was given to me, oh my God, I did not like it. So what you have to do is then find the things to fill you, that fill up your cup, that make you feel good. And yes, you do get fed up with it. We need time out away from people. Of course we do. But equally, it's all about harmony and balance. I don't like balance, because balance is a straight line and you're dead. But I like harmony, so things should be like that. So you should choose to be on your own. And if that's a day, 2 days, a week, whatever it is, do it. But then know you've got the choice to come back into something that creates what it is that drives you and makes you feel that you've got that sense of purpose. It doesn't matter your age. Just consider what's possible for everybody. Now, that I know many people who are retired, and they've got less time now that they're retired than they did when they worked and brought up a family, because what they do is they find what they love to do and fill their life with that, and find the like-minded people that can share in the joy and the happiness and what you like to do. So that is absolutely something that take pleasure in discovering. Be the child, be curious. What do I like to do? What did I used to like to do with my wife, with my children? What did I like to do before I was married? Remember the child. What did you like to do then? What did you like to do as a teenager that you're no longer doing? Okay, so maybe for me, I was a sprinter and an athlete. Okay, I can't quite do sprinting and athletics now, but I love watching it. But there's other things that you can still be active in. Like walking. Walking's one of the best things. So join a walking group, for example. Just find things that light you up, that give you a buzz, that you love doing, and just find other people that you can share with that, whether it's online, whether it's in your community. There's millions of like-minded people online. Just find the right group for you. If you can't find one, guess what? Set one up.
Wow. So yes, lovely, isn't it? And I love how synchronized the two of us are. It always has happened offline when we're chatting. I write something and you pretty much the same time. So I typed in saying, find what fills your life with light and joy. And there you are saying the same thing. And wow. Dale says, I like to go swim. So yes, that's a start. So that's a discovery. I'd asked Rohit if he has any questions, and he says, not yet, because I'm getting all the answers. Lovely. Lovely. Thank you so much. Can you imagine? We're coming to the end of the hour.
Really?
I know, right? Time flies when you're having a great time. Brenda has shared some great insights about joy and happiness, says Rohit. Thank you, Rohit. And as we conclude, is there something that you would like to share with us as a closing comment?
What I would like to share is this. Be true to who you are. If you have lost yourself, go on a journey and refine who you are. Go back. I do an exercise. It's called a golden thread exercise. Anybody could do this. I set up columns of 10 years, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, doesn't matter what age you are. And then I draw a line in the middle, a horizontal line in the middle of the columns. And then you put 1 to 10 going up and 1 to 10 going across. And you say to yourself, I would always start with the highs. What have been the high points in my life? So for me, it would be like starting school, graduating, having my children. What else?
The book adventure, the book publishing adventure.
Starting a charity, being a published author, impacting, there's events, being married, being a mum, different years, and then I would say, what have been the lows in my life, so like things like losing my father, losing my mother, getting divorced, my children leave. Well, that's not such a low, but you find the highs and the lows, and then the bits in between, and it's so important that when, to be true to yourself, you have to acknowledge all of who you are. You have to acknowledge that you can do the same with, what are the good things about me? What are the things that you wish were better? And I don't use the word don't like, but what things do you wish were better about yourself? So for me, I wish, no, wish is not a good word either. It's a low vibrational word, by the way, folks. Don't wish anything. And set intentions. So for me, I know I have to have more physical activity in my life. I sit at this computer day in and day out, doing interviews, talking to people, working with clients. I'm not getting enough physical exercise. So I've started planking this week because my tummy's been getting a bit round. And although it's only one small step, at least it's a step forward. So there's always something in your life that you know you can do better. And for me, I know I could do better with physical activity and physical exercise. So I would say that's my Achilles heel. Do you know what I mean? But find all those things. Be true to yourself. So I just have to accept that sometimes I'm a bit lazy when it comes to physical exercise. Maybe it's not laziness. Maybe I run out of time. But, you know, look at that. You know, so yes, I would say be true to yourself. Love yourself, warts and all. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just love who you are for everything, because there's way more good than there is things that you might not like about yourself.
I know I said that would be the closing comments, but we have a very interesting question that came in. Are you up for it?
Yes.
Okay. So Mufi asks, how can we make our office or workplace as childlike? It's so formal and serious.
Yeah, I know that feeling all too well. So what do you consider childlike? What is it for you? So you can start off with your own little area. You can bring it in through your talk, through your behavior. And we're not quite talking about silliness, but your curiosity is a good way. So it's finding the ways that suit the environment, and slowly through your modeling of what it brings you, and people will see it in you when you introduce those things. Get color, put something colorful on your desk, you know. Well, says me with white flowers, you know, but you know, bring color in. So I've got a bit of fun. I've got this big chair here. My partner bought it to me and says, I'm buying you a throne. So it's a bit of a joke. This is a throne. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a nice color. I mean, it's not as bright, because although I've got this kind of beige on today, I tend to wear bright pink, bright blue, anything that's bright. I'm bright and bold. And but you know, so yes, you can do little things.
He says, I do paper basketball sometimes. So yes.
That's it, exactly. Yes, do the little things like that, you know. Bring in even food through your food. Go and get an ice cream. Talking about the ice cream parlour, bring in an ice cream or something. Just bring in food that's childlike. You know, I don't know, cut your sandwiches into fingers or something like that, although they might think you're posh. But you know, just with your foods, just with anything around you that you can do it. The basketball, kick it in, you know, find an ally in your office, and you know, find a way of injecting it in. It depends how much influence you've got and what your relationships are like. But you know, try and influence the boss, because if they get it, then you don't, just because you've got a serious job, you don't have to. So in my last job as a teacher, you know, I had responsibility for about 400 kids and 200 staff, and you know, and then one day we had a big empty box in the office. So talk about childlike. I'm this leader in my school. Guess what I did? I climbed in the box and had fun, and they took photographs and we put it on Facebook. You know, which was so out of character for me. It would be so out of character. But I had realised I did not have that in my life for so long, because I was so serious. And so I started looking for little things around where I could just be silly. So I climbed into this box. It was about 4.5 foot tall, you know. I think a big, that's, I don't know, a piece of furniture to come inside it, you know, maybe a filing cabinet or something. So there are ways. So the staff all laughed and they liked it. But then after we had that 5 minutes of fun, or whatever, 10 minutes of fun, we got back to just doing the job, you know. But we could punctuate. They knew then that they could punctuate a serious day with a wee bit of lightheartedness, because you cannot, that's just too much intensity.
True. And going back to your colors, the what you said about colors, you'd rarely find me wearing the normal colors, even if I'm at a conference or a summit. I recently spoke at a leadership summit wearing this bright pink headscarf, and so it's just about being vibrant, I guess, and understanding where the energy comes from. Because just looking at you, somebody might just feel like, wow, just looking at your smile, just looking at how you are radiating that energy. And again, being mindful of time, it's it's over an hour, and thank you everybody for staying and asking those questions, encouraging, being part of the conversation, for being vulnerable and sharing what you
Absolutely.
that is a space of respect for the two of us. So thank you so much for those who shared and asked and participated and engaged with us. Brenda, it's been a pure joy having you on board. Thank you so much for your time. I could go on and on with you forever, and it's
And we're touching the top.
I know. It's just the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much more that can happen. I'm going to share later on, or you could also post how people can get in touch with you. What are the things that you do? So please do share that in comments later on. And yes,
Absolutely.
once again, everybody, have a great evening, and thank you for tuning in. And for those of you who join in on replay or are new to the page, please give the page a like, just as a courtesy for the platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much.